Good evening.
Hi.
Welcome to Paris Laundry. This is actually a great background.
Yeah, it's in my jungle.
I just feel like I need, Irene doing, lymphatic drainage on my face, the music going.
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole vibe. I am slathered in your oil though. Hi, John.
Glisten. Hi,
John. Okay. This evening, we're going to go ahead and dive in for Wellness Wednesday. We're going to talk about the importance of stress-reducing practices. And this can look very different for everyone. I was just telling Kelsey, I was going to kind of go backwards a little bit. And I will say, I do have to give my husband credit for this because before John, I worked a very high-stress, high-intensity job that I ran very long hours, running on little sleep. I did not prioritize any form of stress reducing practice. And with my type A personality of always seeking like perfection in everything, my stress levels super high. And go me. Really, John and I have had very deep conversations about this over the years, but just understanding the importance of that has truly transformed my mindset towards todaily life, the way I operate from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed. And we can dive a little bit into that, but I don't know, like, where were you? Has this always been a priority that you have made? Is this something that you practice?
No, and I think it's something that people have to address, and we hear it all the time to just keep track of your stress levels, and stress and anxiety is such a huge factor, and most people just operate through it instead of recognizing what it does to your body. And I didn't understand any of that until I was diagnosed with cancer, and then that topic was brought up to me, and that's something that I was like, well, yes, I'm stressed. I have 4 kids. My husband was an Army officer and gone 80 to 90% of the time. So I felt like, yes, I'm stressed and I'm not sleeping and all of these things. And I just chalked it up to that's what my life was. But I don't think that people understand what stress does within the body and the fact that it causes inflammation within the body. And inflammation is just a gateway and harboring disease. And that's exactly what it does. So I don't think people recognize, I think they think of stress as just a mental factor, and how much stress is a physical factor, but as far as what it's doing inside the body, we cannot operate in a fight or flight mentality for long periods of time without something bad coming from it.
Well, I think one of the frustrations that I have is, again, we talked about this a little bit last week, was in the world we live in, we're told, just suck it up. You have to push through it. If you're a mom, everyone else's life comes before yours, but it's just as important to set an example to your children, to your friends, to your family of taking care of yourself. I'm not saying disregard all the other people, but it's just as equally important to take care of yourself as it is to take care of the others in your life. And I was just telling Kelsey, if you can't tell in the camera, I'm a little red. I am actually currently having a pretty severe eczema breakout, and I don't know what it's from. Some of it could have been from stress. It could have been from something I ate. But like she said, it's not all mental. It's internal, it's external. I personally have flare-ups of severe eczema, so it shows in my skin. I'm sure you see, running this business here, people come in here and say, well, I need X, Y, and Z to get rid of this, and you ask them simple questions. Are you hydrating? Are you sleeping? Are you taking care of stress levels? I mean, I'm sure you see that, don't you?
Yeah, and all the time, and it's not that you have to overhaul your life, and there's not anything that there's gonna be an aha moment and your stress is just going to go away. I still get stressed all the time. I feel like I live in a state of high stress, but I just know how to, I just know how to manage it and recognize it. So for me, it's about doing the things that I know can help to reduce my anxiety and stress. I mean, for me, I can just feel it. I can feel how stressed I am driving to work every day.
I'm sure read some of these keep going.
Yeah. I think a lot of them are like, you know, what are our tips? Like, what do you do to reduce stress? And I think a lot of people, for me, it comes down, like, we've talked about this so many times. You've got to get into a good exercise and a good eating routine, because those things directly affect your stress. I think something that people just don't talk about enough is sleep. And I know that everybody is like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. You're not going to have that option.
You're not going to enjoy life.
Because I played that game all too well. I was like, oh, I can operate off of 3 to 5 hours of sleep. Like, I was like, my husband used to say, you're the only person I know that can function, like high function after 3 hours of sleep. And I'm like, I got this.
But you're not truly functioning.
No, and you're the amount of stress and inflammation. So I think it starts with sleep. If you can't commit to an exercise routine, I get it. Even a 15-minute walk outside is going to drastically reduce your stress. But if you can't commit to it, I get it, then you've got to commit to a sleep routine. And that means putting your phone away, like a minimum of an hour before you're going to try and go to bed. And people just don't do that. But I mean, read the studies on blue light and what it does to your eyes, but what it does to your brain. It kicks it back on. You cannot get a restful sleep. I mean, it's just, you just can't do it. So I mean, it's a sleep thing. I don't recommend melatonin because that can mess with hormones. So that's something that I try and avoid. For me, magnesium is huge. If you haven't tried magnesium as a way to kind of reduce your stress but find balance, magnesium supplements are huge. I usually try and do like a magnesium bath, which is why I have a soap with pure magnesium chloride in it. Also ashwagandha. It's just an amazing supplement for women, especially to kind of like help to balance out that estrogen and progesterone. And so those are like spikes that we see when we're in a high stress state. So ashwagandha, magnesium, these are 2 supplements that I would highly recommend. Get on a good eating habit. Stop eating a certain time before bedtime too, so that you're getting restful sleep. You can't operate the next day if you're just not sleeping.
Right. So I guess I'm going to walk through kind of my day and talk through some of the things that maybe you can do the same. But I will say, like, the company that I'm working with, I'm on ashwagandha. That's a supplement they put me on daily, along with something natural that helps with stress, anxiety, you know, self-employment problems. So starting when I wake up, we move our bodies a little bit. I actually don't sit down, which is a good thing. I've noticed, like, I don't sit at work while I work. That's one thing, that just like constant movement. But like from a stress standpoint, I don't do a lot, I guess, during the day to combat it unless I'm like feeling something. If I feel like that angst build, vitamin D, get outside, take a walk, take a break from the screen, step away. I don't know. I mean, to me, like a stress reducing practice, as corny as it sounds, is jazz music or like coffee house music. So instrumentals, something that just like, because music really does, like, I listen to hardcore rap when I work out because I purposely want like that intense moment, but like it truly, music really does. Like I will turn like surround sound of like spa music on if I really need to like think. But a few things that I do every single day is cold exposure, whether that is just a cold shower or getting in the ice barrel. Cold exposure is a non-negotiable. That is purposely putting my body in a stressful situation so that I teach my body and my mind to fight through those through deep breathing. So some people may choose meditation, whereas I choose to deep breathe. Like I have a breathing routine while I'm in the ice. So I'm just double dutying. But like if you yoga, meditation, so always cold exposure. We do the sauna 6 to 7 days a week. That is the one space, it's almost like that door opens and closes and the world and everything that I'm worrying about shuts off.
Yeah.
John and I talk in there, we read. But that is a space that we try and keep any stressors, any complications, any frustrations out of. It's our little box.
Yeah.
Or barrel, per se. But eating nourishing food. But when it comes to bedtime, phones go across the room. Lights are off. We do red light therapy, not every day, but I really do like that as well. So that's kind of... The cold exposure is a non-negotiable. That's a daily thing. Yes, that is a little bit intense, but you know what? Start with 10 seconds at the end of your shower. If you want to be a little wimpy, take your hot steaming shower, but in cold, trust me, it is a game changer. That shock of your body is fantastic. So that's kind of like a general routine, as long as nothing like crazy is happening. But I do like the idea of, I'm not a big bath person, but maybe I need to try this magnesium. So.
I mean, magnesium, but I mean, you can get magnesium in so many different forms, but magnesium is an essential vitamin that we just do not get, because predominantly we would get it from like natural spring water, and we are not drinking that. We're drinking super filtered water because of all the other chemicals that are in our water. So we are just depleting that. So we're not getting that natural source of magnesium anymore, which again provides that sense of balance in our lives. So when we're deficient, and 80% of people are deficient in magnesium, you've got to get it somehow. And that's how you can kind of find that balance, that sense of like homeostasis again, where you can kind of tackle other things in your life. So, I mean, those are things that I feel like people can easily do.
And you mentioned, you talked about people truly not understanding the blue light and the intense issues that cell phones and stuff cause. Well, I was just thinking, like, another thing that is and this is a personal thing, social media, the world we live in, the news, these pressures that are put on especially women. I have found that a really good way to decrease my stress levels is to disconnect from all that noise.
Yeah.
And that is because I am someone that can get so immersed in that, of all the things I should be doing as a business owner, as a woman, as a wife, as, you know, all those things. But when I remove myself from the noise per se, and just like, believe me, I have to be immersed in it somewhat so we know what's going on. But like, when I realize that it is taking too much and it's putting unnecessary pressure on me, to step away from that. As simple as that.
And that, I mean, it's that saying that like your diet is more than just food that you eat. You know what I mean? It's the people that you're around, it's the social media accounts that you follow, it's all that type of stuff. All of this is all encompassing, which is why we do this Wellness Wednesdays. It's not just food, and it's not just beauty products. Like, all of these things contribute to the way that you're feeling.
And I noticed my mom's on.
Hi, Mom!
My mom was correct. Mom, you were right when you said, it's the music you listen to. Nothing good happens after
I mean,
dark. It's true.
It is everything, but also, like, we're also not meant to be completely unstressed. There is a healthy amount of stress, because that stress, like that gut feeling, all of these feelings inside that's your intuition sometimes too. So you need to kind of lean into stress, but then it's our mind just running away with that stress and creating anxiety in a situation that is not exactly there, and we're altering the reality. So sometimes it's not the situation, it's how you react to the situation. And so I think a lot of people need to kind of keep that into perspective. A huge thing I did during cancer, like treatment, was journaling. And I had a 5-minute journal. It's 5 minutes in the morning, and it really helps you to just like navigate the top things that you're tackling and how you're planning on tackling that, but also like what you're grateful for. So I mean, I think that's something too, that if you can't do all of these things, if you're like, you know what, I can't afford to change my diet right now. I just don't have 15 minutes in my day to like find outside time. Okay, realistically, I'm not gonna put my phone down and read a book before I go to bed. Like, if that's all it is, then find a couple minutes in the morning to where you could just journal and find something that you're grateful for. A lot of stress can be reduced by gratitude. And so...
Yeah, and I actually have listened to a lot of podcasts on this. I'm glad you brought this up, because I completely forgot to mention it. Is I printed something off that is 3 things I'm grateful for, what I'm learning, 3 affirmations